Well, sometimes. The places we run to become the very traps we sought to escape. I needed to disappear. Life had become unbearable. The noise, the pressure, the constant demands pulling at every corner of my mind. So when I found the listing, a cottage, isolated, impossibly cheap, I didn't ask questions. I should have. The island was barely a speck off the main coast. No bridge, no neighbors, just me, the cottage, and the endless stretch of cold Atlantic water. Sound, boat motor fading into silence. Perfect, or so I thought. Act 2, the first night, 1:30 to 3:45. Narrator, growing uneasy. The first 2 days were exactly what I needed. Silence, solitude, the kind of peace that seeps into your bones and makes you forget the world exists beyond the horizon. But on the third night, I was reading by the fireplace when I heard it. Footsteps circling the cottage, slow, deliberate, like whoever or whatever was out there was studying me. I told myself it was an animal, a deer, maybe a raccoon, but animals don't knock. The sound echoed through the cottage like gunshots. I froze. Another knock, louder this time. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. I crept toward the window, every instinct screaming at me to stay away from the door. And then I heard it, a voice, muffled through the door, but clear enough. Unknown voice. I know you're in there. My blood turned to ice. Unknown voice. Your name here. Open the door. They knew my name. How did they know my name? I hadn't told anyone where I was going. Not a soul. This island wasn't on any map. There were no other houses for miles. I grabbed my phone. No signal. Of course there was no signal. I don't know how long I stood there, pressed against the wall, holding my breath. Minutes? Hours? The knocking stopped. The footsteps, gone. When dawn finally broke, I ran outside. Nothing. No one. But there, at the edge of the water, fresh marks in the mud. A boat had been pulled ashore, recently, and then it hit me. To reach this island, you need a boat. To know I was here, you'd need to have followed me, watched me. But who and why? I left that morning, didn't pack, didn't look back. But sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone in my apartment, supposedly safe, supposedly secure, I hear it again. And I wonder, did I really escape that island? Or did something follow me home? Some places should remain forgotten, abandoned, sealed away from the world. But what happens when you're the one who breaks that seal? Hashima Island, a name that sends chills down the spines of those who know its history. 15 kilometers off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan, lies a ghost. Not a ghost of a person, but a ghost of an entire civilization. They called it Gunkanjima, Battleship Island. From above, its concrete walls rising from the sea looked like a warship frozen in time. But I knew it as something else, something far more sinister. I'm a structural engineer. My job is to assess buildings, measure decay, calculate risk. Cold, clinical, scientific. At least, that's what I told myself when I accepted the assignment. The boat ride out was quiet. Too quiet. My escort Tishi barely spoke. His eyes, they never quite met mine. As the island emerged from the morning mist, I felt it. That primal instinct screaming at you to turn back, to run. But I didn't listen. The island was officially abandoned in 1974. 50 years of decay, 50 years of silence, or so they said. The concrete buildings stood like hollow tombstones, windows shattered, walls crumbling, nature reclaiming what man had built. Everything was exactly as it should be, until it wasn't. The signs were subtle at first. A door that shouldn't have been opened was ajar. Footprints in the dust, fresh ones. And then I saw it. Food wrappers, recent ones, modern packaging that had no business being on an island sealed off for half a century. Tishi, I called out. Someone's been here. His face, it changed. Not surprise, not concern, something else. Recognition, perhaps, or guilt. Kids, he said too quickly. Urban explorers. They break in sometimes. But his voice cracked, and his hands, they were shaking. We moved deeper into the ruins. each building more unsettling than the last. Apartment blocks where 5,000 people once lived, schools where children once learned, now just corridors of shadow and whispers. And then I found the room. Someone had been living there, not visiting, living. A makeshift bed, stored water, supplies arranged with care. This wasn't some thrill-seeker's overnight adventure. This was a home, on an island that should have been empty. Tishi. Tishi. He was gone. Just vanished into the labyrinth of concrete. I was alone. Alone in a place where someone, or something, was watching. I could feel eyes on my back, hear breathing that wasn't my own, footsteps echoing from floors above, or below, or right behind me. I ran, through corridors that seemed to twist and change, past windows that framed the endless ocean, down staircases that crumbled beneath my feet, until I found the boat, and Tishi, waiting, as if nothing had happened. On the ride back, I studied his face, that blank, unreadable expression, and I realized something that still keeps me awake at night. Tishi knew. He had always known about whoever or whatever was living in those ruins, known about the fresh footprints, the supplies, the presence. Was he protecting someone? Was he one of them? Or was there something far worse happening on that island? Something they didn't want the outside world to discover. I filed my report. Structural decay, recommended demolition. But I never mentioned what I found, what I felt. What I know is still there, because some questions, some answers, are better left buried, on an island that should have stayed forgotten. But here's the thing about Hashima Island. It's still there, still abandoned, still waiting. And if you ever find yourself on a boat heading toward those concrete shores, ask yourself one question. Are you visiting a ghost town, or are you becoming part of it? Tishi never spoke to me again. He didn't need to. We both knew the truth. Some islands are abandoned for a reason. There are places in this world, places where the living shouldn't tread. North Brother Island is one of them. You won't find it on any tour map of New York City. It sits there, forgotten, abandoned. A graveyard of crumbling hospitals where the sick once came to die. But some things refuse to stay buried. It was 3 of us that night, me, Jake, and Marcus. We thought we were being adventurous, brave even. We'd done this before, slipped past fences, explored forgotten buildings. Urban exploration, we called it. Breaking the law is what it really was. The ferry left us on that cursed shore just after midnight. The island welcomed us with silence, the kind of silence that feels wrong, like the air itself is holding its breath. The old Riverside Hospital loomed before us, shattered windows like hollow eyes, walls strangled by decades of ivy. We clicked on our flashlights and stepped inside. That was our first mistake. The corridors stretched endlessly, peeling paint, rusted gurneys, rooms filled with debris and memories, dark memories. This place had seen so much death. Tuberculosis patients, typhoid fever victims. Even Typhoid Mary herself died here. We joked about it, laughed nervously, made light of the darkness. That was our second mistake. It was on the 3rd floor when Jake stopped, just froze mid-step. His flashlight beam locked on something at the end of the hall. "Do you see that?" he whispered. I looked. Marcus looked. And there, at the far end of the corridor, stood a figure, tall, impossibly tall. It didn't move, didn't react to our lights, just stood there in the darkness, watching. We couldn't make out features, no face, no details, just a silhouette that shouldn't exist. "Hello?" Marcus called out. His voice echoed, bounced off the walls, died in the darkness. The figure didn't answer. Then we heard it, a woman's voice, moaning, not words, just pure suffering. It came from somewhere deeper in the building, somewhere below us. "We need to leave," I said. "Now." We ran, stumbled down staircases, our flashlights bouncing wildly. The moaning followed us, growing louder, closer. We burst through a side exit into the night air, gasping, hands on our knees, hearts pounding like war drums. "Everyone okay?" I asked. Jake nodded. I could see him in the moonlight, still catching his breath. "Yeah," he said. "Let's just get to the pickup point." But that's when things stopped making sense. Marcus was standing 20 feet away, looking at his phone. If Marcus was over there, then who? Who had just answered me? I turned, slowly, where I'd heard Jake's voice. There was nothing, just darkness, empty air. The real Jake was next to Marcus, both of them staring at me. "Dude, why are you talking to yourself?" Marcus asked. Something had spoken to me in Jake's voice. Perfect mimicry. I heard it, clear as day, as clear as I'm speaking to you now. But it wasn't Jake. It was never Jake. I'm a rational person. I've always been a rational person. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in the paranormal. I don't believe in things that go bump in the night. But I heard that voice. I saw that figure, and I felt something watching us from that hospital. Something that knew us, studied us, learned from us. We made it off the island that night. We never went back, never spoke about it again. But sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone, I hear voices, familiar voices, calling my name from empty rooms. And I wonder, what did we really encounter on North Brother Island? What walks those halls, wearing the voices of the living? Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Some places are forbidden for a reason.